Welcome to episode 21 of the Eldenwood Craft podcast. My name's Emma and this is my podcast all about my crafty life. If this is your first time visiting, you are very welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, then thank you very much for coming back. Please do give me the thumbs up if you enjoy the episode, because it helps to get the podcast out there a bit more, and press subscribe or click on the subscribe button if you would like to keep watching my videos in the future. All the details of where you can find me and the show notes will be linked down below. I try and link details of all the patterns and yarns and Etsy shops and other shops and so on that I talk about in the episode. If I do happen to miss anything, then just drop me a message either in the comments below or through Instagram or Ravelry or email, and I will happily give you any information that you need. So this is going to be a usual episode. I've got some finished objects to share with you, some works in progress, and I've got lots of giveaway and Cal news. Before we get into all that good stuff, I would like to address the conversation that has been happening principally on Instagram, within the knitting community, all about race and inclusion. I won't speak very eloquently about it, mainly because I'm still trying to get my head round it, and I've got an awful lot of learning to do before I probably can speak clearly and eloquently about it. But these words are said with sincerity and with a desire to be able to understand more about the topic at the heart of that conversation. And what I'd like to say really is that this space on YouTube, or any space that I have some control over, whether that be Instagram or Ravelry, should be a safe and welcoming place for anybody, no matter what your background, what you look like. I want you to feel that you are welcome here, and I mean that with all of my heart. It's just wrong, plain wrong, that anybody should find that they struggle on a daily basis because of the way they look, because of the colour of their skin, or that they face obstacles to getting on for those very reasons. And I believe that I have a responsibility to the knitting community to embrace diversity and to support other podcasters and other makers, regardless of I'm not saying this very well. Really what I'm saying is that I'm opening my eyes to the wider knitting community, and will aim to share what I find, I think, is the best way to say it. As I said, this podcast is intended to be a safe and happy place, and I really hope that you think that. But what I won't tolerate on any level is any form of racism or exclusion. And if what I've been talking about does not resonate with you, then this probably isn't the place for you to be, and you are welcome to choose not to watch this podcast in the future. It's my podcast, my rules, and I very much hope that going forwards this will be a place where everybody feels welcome. So on with the knitting content, and what I will talk about first will be my finished objects, and I have one on. Shall I stand up and show you? Actually, first let me tell you what else I'm wearing. So this is my hitchhiker shawl. It's a pattern by Martina Bem, and it's a very well-known pattern. It's sort of known for its this jaggedy edge. It's a triangular shawl. Let me show it to you. If you don't know it, it's a beautiful pattern. Oops, beautiful pattern to make. And I knit this out of a lace weight shawl. I can't remember. No, it was a Posh Yarns. It's yarn from Posh Yarns. I have no more details other than that. And it was tucked away at the back of my knitting box for quite a long time, and I just pulled it out not long ago and thought, oh, goes quite well with my jumper. So that's the hitchhiker. This is the Miromesnil, a pattern by Cleone, and I finished it on New Year's Eve. I am absolutely thrilled with it. I've worn it quite a few times, and whenever I do wear it, I get some fabulous compliments about it. I wore it to work on one day last week, Friday possibly, and people, non-knitters, said that it very much looked like a jumper that I had bought in the shops. Whether that's a good thing or not, I'm not sure, but let me show it to you. If I step back here, so you can see it's it fits beautifully. I really like the length. I love, excuse the boob shot. I love the pattern, the pleats here, the gathers, and I love the bell sleeve shape. Sleeves on either arm. There we go. So it was knit out of Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in the Dove Heather colourway. Really like the yarn. No criticism, no problem with either the pattern or the yarn. It was just, it was a dream combination, and I will say that I'm very likely to knit another version of this in the future. Possibly out of a darker yarn. I quite fancy a darker version of it, but yeah, I'm just really pleased with it. Have I got anything else to tell you about it? I don't think so. Yeah, I think I've got my show notes here. I don't think there's anything else to tell you other than I love it. All the details about everything to do with it are on my Ravelry pages, and I really recommend making it. Even if you are a novice jumper knitter, as I am, this is only the third garment that I finished. If you're a novice garment knitter, you will find this pretty straightforward, so I would wholeheartedly recommend it for anyone. The other finished object that I have is one that you won't have seen before. It's another beret, another simple beret by pattern by Hannah Fettig, and again I have knit that using the Rerum Natura Gilliatt, not Ulysses, Gilliatt, and this is in the Nuit colourway, and you can see that's just my sort of colouring, isn't it? Shall I put it on for you? I'm losing all inhibitions about showing my hats on screen now. Someone passed me a message on Instagram a little while ago to say that they'd made one of these, and somebody had commented that they looked like Frank Spencer in it. From, oh, what was the Frank Spencer programme? Caroline, I'm talking to you. I'm sure you're answering the question. Some mothers do have them. If you are not a UK podcast viewer, or you are too young to have watched, some others do have them, in the 1970s, then I go and have a look on YouTube. Frank Spencer is a real character and he loves to wear a beret. Anyway, I'm really pleased with it. I love this pattern. I will be making more. I bought some red yarn from the same brand fairly recently to make my mother one as a surprise. So there'll be another one going on the needles quite soon. I should say, just in case there are any technical issues today or the sound is very different, I have a brand new camera that I am using to film for the first time. So if there is anything wrong with the episode today from a technical perspective, I do apologise. I will fix that going forwards, but I just thought let's give it a go today and see what happens. I have no idea how it will turn out, but I hope it should be better quality than we've had previously. Right, those are my finished objects. On to works in progress, and really I'm just going to concentrate on two today. I have got 3 pairs of socks on the go. 2 are Christmassy and 1 is not Christmassy. I'm just going to show you that 3rd one today. I will share the other ones with you, but I'm conscious that I don't want to have this episode running for too long, just because I'm worried about battery and all that sort of thing. So I'm trying to keep this down to about half an hour today. I won't succeed, I can guarantee that, but we'll try. So I'm going to show you 1 pair of socks and a shawl. So just reach over and pick them up. The pair of socks I'm going to show you are my acorn socks, which is a pattern by Hannah of Yarnier Designs. You have seen these on the podcast before. I have a half finished object. This is it. And I am up at the lace section on the 2nd sock. Now, I've got my new camera can focus, so let's see how this goes. There we go. So you can see I'm up at the lace section. Let me show you that one again. So that doesn't want to focus. Oh, there we go. Oh, I like that. So that's the full lace section. Looks really lovely on screen, and the colours are coming out really true to how they are as I can see them. So the sock is just a ribbed foot and a bit of ribbing here and then into the lace section. The yarn I'm knitting it out of is this sweet skein of mine in the, there we go, in the grey Gardens, I think it is. Grey Gardens colourway. It's really lovely yarn. There's the ball band. Sweet skein of mine. And the details. So I will have the rest of that sock finished off very soon, and certainly by the time I podcast again. As you can see, it's toe up, which is definitely how I like to knit my socks at the moment. It's got a traditional heel flap. I'll show you that way. Traditional heel flap and gusset. And I am knitting them on 2.25 higher stainless steel needles. Just a really lovely pattern. It's really well written. another one that I can recommend. So that is that's the sock project that's been keeping me most busy recently. Pop it over there. The other pattern that I've been working on in one of my colour block bags is a shawl pattern. I don't have a printout of it. It's the Pentala shawl by Paulina Carew, or she's known as Lena Knits on her design pages on Ravelry and on Instagram. And this is just such a lovely, quite straightforward shawl. I'm using Sherry Iris yarn for this. Focus. There we are. Oh, look at that. That is Sherry Iris's sock weight yarn. It's a 75/25 superwash merino nylon, and it's in the Coffee at Luke's colourway. I absolutely love it. And this is how it's knitting up. Oops. So it's a cast on at this end, and it's that sort of shape, and you can see it's bands of garter and eyelet and a lace pattern. And I'm not even halfway through it, so it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be a nice long wraparound shawl. It takes 2 skeins, so there we are. That's how much I have used so far. Look at the state of how my ball winder winds cakes of yarn. Yuck, messy. At some point this year, I think I'm going to treat myself to a new ball winder and probably a new Swift as well. I've got one of those tabletop flat Swifts, and I like it. I like the idea of it, but I find that there are many skeins that are too big for it. The flexibility of tackling longer skeins of yarn is really limited on that one, so I quite like one of the umbrella Swifts. Anyway, so that is the Pentala shawl. There's Sherry's ball band. And I don't think I have anything else to say about that. I'm knitting, let me just show you the needles I'm using. So these are, these are higher stainless steel as well. Oh, they're escaping. I really like higher. I find them slick enough. In fact, I find them nice and fast to knit with. So yeah, my favourites at the moment. Oh, sorry for wobbling. Okay, that is all my current knitting that I'm going to share with you. What I'd like to do now is to move on to other bits and pieces, my notes and queries section, and I've got quite a lot to talk about here. First off, oops, just put my paper back. First off, it's hat knit along. So lovely Caroline, who is Caroline Loves to Sew on Instagram, and I were running a Newyearwarmheadkal during the month of January, and that has come to an end now. Caroline will be drawing a winner from the chatter thread, and that leaves me to draw winners from the finished objects thread that I was hosting in my Ravelry group. My simple beret was my entry for the Cal. I have been put to shame by so many of you. There were so many people who made multiple hats during the month. Quite impressive. Altogether, there were round about, I forget the exact number, but there were round about 130 entries, which was phenomenal. So thank you all ever so much for embracing having a warm head in the new year and for entering all your hats. I've certainly added some new hats to my wish list, and I will be making some more hats during the year, I'm sure. So you're all wanting to know who's won, and I've got my notes here that will tell us. So I was only going to draw one prize, but actually because you have embraced the Cal so well, and because I had some extra prizes left over from the Make 9, I thought I'll offer 2 prizes. The first prize that I drew is going to receive this beautiful bag from Busy Pottering. It's a lovely, really beautifully padded toadstool bag, project bag, and there's a little bag of extra goodies in there for the winner. Also, the winner of this bag will receive a pattern that was really kindly donated by Molly of Molly Klein Designs, and it is her dainty dot hat pattern, really appropriate for the Cal. Molly, thank you ever so much for your generosity. That's lovely, and I love your hat pattern. I will be knitting that. But camera just stopped. I think that must have been half an hour of recording already. So what I was showing you was that we've got this Busy Pottering bag, and I was in the middle of telling you about the hat pattern that Molly of Molly Klein Designs had generously donated. So it's her dainty dot hat. So Molly, thank you ever so much for donating that. That was really generous of you. So the winner of the bag, of the hat pattern, and of a skein of yarn from my stash is post number 88, and that is Heather, who is Lace Wing on Heather. So congratulations, Heather. Thank you for entering. I'm sure you entered more than one hat. The post that or your post 88 showed your beautiful fairy snow cap. So thank you very much for that. And the second prize that I have drawn from the finished object thread will win another pattern that has been really generously donated, this time from Mars of Hey Brownberry. And Mars has donated, if I can show you, because I have got this one printed out for a reason that I will tell you later. Mars has donated her Pebbles and Pathway sock pattern, printed out in black and white, so you don't see the full effect of the pattern. Mars, thank you ever so much for donating that. It's a gorgeous sock pattern. I will be knitting that, and I will talk about that in a few moments. So along with that sock pattern, I'm going to donate a skein of yarn from my stash for the winner to knit that. And the winner that I have drawn for that is post number 9, who is Els from Belgium, and Els' Ravelry name is Els I Am. So Els, you win the sock pattern and the skein of yarn from my stash. So if the 2 winners would like to get in touch with me, leave me a message somewhere and I will get the prizes off to them. Thank you so much for entering. I know Caroline really enjoyed hosting the chatter thread, and it was just great to see all the hats being knit up over the month of January. Now, I said that I was going to make a pair of Marcy's lovely socks, and what I thought we could do is have another knit along. I'm in knit along mode at the moment, so I thought what we could do is have a sock knit along, all about making a pair of socks using a pattern that you have not used before. So not a plain vanilla pair of socks, but a sock with a pattern that you haven't knit before. And this is going to be my entry for it. So Mars, thank you. I bought your pattern this morning, and I haven't brought the yarn down that I'm going to use, but I will show you that in the next episode. If you are a non-sock knitter, then what you could do if you want to enter the KAL is take the opportunity and make your first pair of socks. And if you are a non-knitter, then you can knit up a vanilla pair of socks. I think it might be a little bit cheeky to ask you to knit a patterned or textured pair of socks if this is your first time. So for sock knitters out there, use a pattern that you haven't used before. If you're a non-sock knitter, knit a vanilla pair of socks if you want. You can knit a patterned pair. Anyway, I'm rambling about it. The idea really is to stretch your boundaries. I would ask that these are, I'm just checking my notes, I'd ask that these are not child socks. I think an adult pair of socks would be reasonable. And the KAL will run from now until the end of March. I think that gives the non-knitters amongst us plenty of time to be able to knit a pair of socks. So that's 2 months. That's reasonable. There will be only a chatter thread, so you can enter. You don't have to finish as long as you try, and if you do finish, then by all means post your finished item, post your finished socks in the chatter thread. But I'm just going to have one thread for this knit along. I will open that up on Ravelry as soon as I can. I hope that was clear. I felt like I rambled that one a little bit. All the details though will be in the Ravelry thread, so go and look there if you're unsure about anything that I've said, and I'll put all the details down below as well. Right, I'm just going to take my glasses off because they might be reflecting. Okay. Right, on to the Make 9 for 2018. And this will be the last mention of the 2018 Make 9 on this podcast. I have got 2 prize winners to announce. Before I do that, just a huge thank you to you all who entered, who took part, who tried but didn't finish their 9. That's most of us, to be fair. But just thank you for embracing the whole idea of that knit along. I was thrilled that so many of you liked the idea, wanted to take part, did take part, and also asked if there was going to be one for this year, which, as you know, there is. The 2019 Make 9. But for 2018, there are 2 prizes to announce. The first one is the last quarter winner, and the winner of that is post 223, who is, oh, I didn't make a note of your name, but it's the Power of Wool. Let me see if I can look that up while we're here. Bear with me. There we go. So, oh, you're not going to be able to see that very well. So, there we go. Power of Wool finish that beautiful pill sweater. And the Power of Wool is Annalie, who is from Sweden. So Annalie, congratulations. If you get in touch with me, I will post your prize off to you. And you want to know what that prize is, don't you? So what we have here is, do you remember this beautiful bag from Teresa of Tea and Toast? There's her tag, her label. This gorgeous bird bag, which I absolutely love. And there are some stitch markers inside. I love the label, Teresa. And along with that is this beautiful skein from Hayley at Ducky Darlings Yarn. That's her Rudolph colourway. It's gorgeous. Really lovely. So Teresa and Hayley, thank you very much for your really kind donations. Annalie, if you get in touch with me, I will make sure they are posted off to you as soon as I can. The other prize that needs to be drawn is the prize for somebody who managed to complete all 9 of their Make 9. And there were 3 of you. So congratulations go to Em's Little Nest, who is Emma from New Zealand, and Emma was one of the earlier winners of a quarterly prize. Trace44, who is Tracy from Ontario in Canada, and Peg MCC, who is Peggy from Hillsborough in North Carolina. Now, it seemed a bit unfair to, seeing as there were only 3 of you, to pick one out to be a prize winner, so I have decided that for this year, all 3 of you will win a prize. And that prize is going to be, what did I say in my notes? A pattern of your choice from Ravelry up to the value of $10. So again, if you all get in touch with me, however you want, and I will sort out that prize with you. So congratulations and thank you again to everybody who took part, and a huge thank you to all the prize donors. Couldn't have given away all those lovely skeins of yarn and bags and stitch markers and knitting jewellery and all the lovely things that had come in over the year. So thank you ever so much. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, so that's the Makealong for 2018 finished. Just a quick note on the 2019 Makealong. I've had a really kind donation from somebody I've already mentioned. Mars at Hey Brown Berry has been doubly generous to us for this episode and has donated a pattern prize up to the value of, I think it was $8 on Ravelry, but I'll confirm that when we draw for prizes next. So Mars, thank you so much. You're really kind. I love you. Lots of people have started entering their finished objects in the finished object thread. Keep going. You've got until the end of March until I draw for a prize, so there'll be plenty for me to choose from. So far, my Make 9 is going okay. I finished my hat. I had a hat on my list, kind of doubling up with 2 knit-alongs, but why not? And I've started my shawl. So I said that I wanted to knit 2 shawls, so one of them is the Pentala that I've already shown you. And I am just waiting for yarn to start my 3rd square, which is a jumper, kind of getting the garment bug. And the jumper I'm going to make is from this gorgeous book that I treated myself to. It's Strange Brew from the Tin Can Knits crew. And the jumper that I'm going to make is, take my post-it notes with all my pattern notes on, and I'm going to be making this jumper here. I hope that's in focus. It's the Mountain Mist jumper, and I absolutely love that colour work. It's kind of nice and simple. There's nothing, I don't think that's going to be too complicated for someone who hasn't made a colour work jumper before. That looks quite straightforward. If you haven't seen this book before and you like knitting colourwork jumpers or jumpers with colourwork yokes, I couldn't recommend this book anymore. It's really given me the incentive to make lots of colourwork jumpers. It's a really clever book. Let me show you. There are all the jumpers that you can make from the patterns in this book, and it's basically a recipe book. They give you, if you know the Tin Can Knits patterns at all, you will know that they provide patterns in multiple size ranges, and you basically get all the details that you need to knit a jumper in pretty much any size that you want. But they also give you a range of different stitch patterns. They give you lots of tips and techniques for sizing. It's a really good book, and like all Tin Can Knits patterns, the detail and the explanation and everything that you need is just really informative. So yeah, I highly recommend that book. Right, that's almost everything that I want to talk about today. Just the final thing, just really quickly, is to say that I'm going to Unravel this year, which is a yarn festival in Farnham in Surrey, which is just down the road from where I live. It's my local yarn festival. It's a fabulous one to go to. If you've not taken the plunge and visited a fibre festival, a yarn festival before, and can get to Farnham in Surrey, then I would recommend it. Meeting up with some friends. Hi Caroline. I hope you've been having a chat with me over the course of watching this podcast. But I'll be going on the Friday, so if anybody else is thinking of going on the Friday, then it would be lovely if you wanted to come and say hello. I might be a little bit awkward and incoherent, because I always get surprised when people stop and say hello to me. I never quite know what to say other than to give you a hug. So if I do loom at you trying to hug you, don't get scared, it's just me being all awkward. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about today. I didn't tell you what date it was. It's Sunday the 3rd of February. So I missed recording in January by a few days. Apologies for that. I very much hope to be back by the end of February to record another episode, all being well. No shop talk today, you'll have noticed. I have got a shop update underway though. Also, actually, just to say, I'm getting close to the end of my sheep bag waiting list. I am about to contact the people who are in the low to mid to high 80s to let you know that I'll be making your bags in February. Then roughly the people in the 90s will be March, and the people in the low 100s will be in April. And hopefully by the end of April I will have finished everyone, and everybody will have their sheep bags that are waiting for one. And then I will decide what I do with the sheep bags going forwards. So if you're interested, keep watching the podcast and I will let you know. Anyway, that is all from me today. I think I've recorded for about 50 minutes. Let's see how much of that gets cut out, probably quite a lot today, and I will say goodbye to you. Happy knitting, happy crafting over the next few weeks, and be kind to yourself, and speak to you soon. Thank you for watching. Bye bye. If you've visited the podcast before, a very warm welcome to you. Thank you for coming back. I am actually podcasting.
No, you're not.
I am.
Oh, I'm not finished.
As I was saying, a very warm welcome to you if you visited the podcast before. I think we're going to have a few interruptions today. And the second prize that I've drawn from the finished objects